Tyron Ferguson yesterday.
Ferg, yeah.
And he just mentioned how much he appreciates you.
Oh,
and
cool.
the loyalty that you showed to him through the 4 or 5 weeks that he was kind of picked up. How did you see him sort of initially respond to that injury, and then how did you guys kind of grow during that?
Well, when he first got hurt, I think he was playing really well before he got hurt, and then he went through some health issues. And for him to say he appreciates how we handled it, I appreciate that, but I don't really know any other way to do it. You have guys that are in your program, and it's your responsibility to make sure you're taking care of those guys to the best of your ability and making sure that they know that they're still part of the program. And for him, to be able to say that means a lot for me. But I really, for me, that's just how you're supposed to handle things in terms of when a guy gets a little bit down on himself because he's not playing very well or he's getting hurt and things like that. I don't know any other way to do it. So it's really cool to hear. But to me, that's sort of the expectation with how we handle things in terms of the coaching. So.
How did you go early in the game? You had Alex just for a snap or two, JoJo a little bit, and then Ferg sort of settled in. Yeah,
so we had Alex was in there early. JoJo was obviously playing throughout the course of the game in different roles. And then Ferg, when he was in, really started to produce pretty well. And so sometimes, you have a plan in place before the game to get guys rolling in and out of the game to get to kind of like even out the reps a little bit so not one person's getting worn out. But sometimes you kind of go with the hot hand. And Ferg was playing a couple things. Look, he came right out, especially at halftime. They came out with kind of a funky formation, like a double snug look where there's a tight end and a wide receiver right next to each other, and he fitted up exactly perfectly. And at that point, I knew he was pretty locked into what was going on. And so he was producing. He had a couple big plays for us, so I didn't think there was any reason to take him out and lose any kind of rhythm that he's generated.
How much of a challenge are those 2 tight ends this week?
They're really good players. They're really, really good players. We're going to have to play extremely well to give ourselves a chance to have success.
When you have guys that can do both and that are as big as both those guys are, where do you start?
Well, what you kind of have to do is you have to break down who's in what and who does what better. There are some instances where they'll go out in 12 personnel and end up in 11 personnel looks, break the formation a little bit with one guy or the other. So you kind of try to match it up based on down and distance and which one of the tight ends are in the game.
Hey, did Winemaster play in that on Saturday?
No.
Was he injured?
Yeah, he's got a little bit of a deal going on, kind of a resurface of a previous injury that he's had. So no, he wasn't able to play last weekend.
Is that that takes something away from you guys, right?
Yeah, we had several guys that were out on special teams that really present. Going into that game, the kicking coach was real nervous. There was 20-something mile-an-hour winds. There was blowing snow all over the place, and 2 or 3 of your top special teams players were not playing. So that made me a little bit on edge. I have a heart rate monitor that goes off during the game on my Apple Watch, and it was at like 128 every time we lined up for a kick or to receive a kick. So that's not good.
What about after the game, though?
After the game, it was really high and then got really low, and I was able to relax.
What was the feeling when you saw the kick go through the uprights?
It was about 135, 140. I took a screenshot of it, so it was pretty high, but it was good. It was a good feeling.
Have you ever been a part of a game that had those type of conditions?
Well, I played at Northern Michigan University, so yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's probably why I have a little bit of an aversion to the cold nowadays. So, but yeah, a couple of times I've been in some of those. Maybe not quite as windy as that, but certainly as cold as that. Yeah.